Marhaba and hello once again to our brothers and sisters around the world. I'm American historian and writer Jack Dempsey, living in Crete nowadays, and my friend here is Muhammad Jihad Ismael, a wonderful Palestinian writer, historian, scholar, and family man living in the Gaza territory in Deir al-Balah. We are talking on Friday, November 4th, 2022, and with the trouble in the West Bank over the past week or so with IDF, Israeli Defense Forces attacks on both Jenin and Nablus to try to uproot the recent wave of new resistance to occupation, which is entirely their right under the UN declarations, resolutions, and so forth, that they have the right to resist in any way necessary. Well, there have been some rockets now fired from Gaza. And this might have been brought on by what's now called the Unity Intifada. The new generation of Palestinians is really coming together across their differences politically and otherwise to try to realize that their strength is in unity between the West Bank, Jerusalem, and the Gaza territory. So this has brought Gaza back into the fighting. And Mohammed, I want to welcome you. Thank you once again for speaking with me and the whole world. The last thing I want to add, we're going to hear about the night attack that happened on Gaza last night, very close to your house. That's why you're operating today on battery power. There's no electricity in the wake of that attack. And your image might even become darker because of the batteries going down as we speak today. It seems an awfully appropriate non-metaphor that you are speaking from a place of increasing darkness. But Mohammed, please begin. Tell us about what happened last night. Your children were frightened. There were explosives falling near your home. You tell us what happened.
Thank you, brother, for this new opportunity. I am so happy again and again to be speaking to all our friends and followers from all over the world, those people who are searching for truth and searching for any reliable source of information about what happened here in Palestine. Yesterday was a very complicated situation. I think last night was a piece of hell between 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. We had very fierce airstrikes just in my surrounding, very close to my house. All the house was shaking. For me, I am not a child, I am a man, but also me, I felt very afraid because the house was shaking. My son Jihad was sleeping. He got up and he used to shout. He used to shout aloud. Directly, I went to him and I embraced him. I took him between my arms and I started to say some gentle words to him, just his spirits, because he is 5 years old, the child, and he faced difficulty to go back to sleep. And right now he's afraid. Right now he's afraid. Before 2 hours, I tried to convince him to have his meal, but he refused to eat because he is afraid from the horrible bombing of last night. Briefly, this is our situation in Gaza, and especially after what happened last night.
It strikes me, Mohammed, that again, Israel has the advantage of every precision guided weapon in the world. And they always claim that they are only trying to strike at military targets, such as a place, a backyard, or a rooftop, or something where missiles are being launched. These are not high quality, not precision guided, not high explosive ordnance. They are fired almost like the stones that people throw to make a symbolic point of resistance. But it seems as though the damage from the Israeli weapons always falls on the civilians who are already living in ruins. They are bombing the ruins of Gaza to punish the people. And collective punishment of a people is against international law. This is a stupid question, but how do you feel in your situation when there is no place you can run? There is almost nothing you can do.
Let me clarify something, brother. In fact, those airstrikes are very, very harmful for people. It's not necessary that you will be harmed if you got some sharpness from the rocket. No, no, no. You haven't to be hit by some sharpness. It's
Shrapnel.
enough just to listen. It's enough. Yeah, yeah. It's enough just to listen the voice, the horrible voice. Some people here are getting deaf because this horrible sound can destroy their hearing organs. You know. I want all the world just to try to imagine uh, how a child of 2 years, 3 years, 4 years can bear this horrible voice, and during the night while all the people are sleeping, you know. So I cannot describe the how much these airstrikes are harmful and destructive.
You called it a night from hell, and I think anybody who has seen battlefield footage from almost any conflict around the world knows what happens when a bomb goes off. There is not only the explosion and the destructive force and the shrapnel that tears bodies apart, there is a shock wave, a vacuum that is created that knocks down buildings. Your house was shaking, the children, your wife must have been unbelievably terrified. And this is not even, of course, the first time that you have all survived it. And I can only say that our friendship, Muhammad, and I know that the people listening would have the same experience in their friendships with Palestinian people going through this, that it gives me great strength of courage that cannot be defeated. When I think of my many blessings that are so ridiculously ahead and better than yours because of nothing that I've done, just the luck of where I live. I think anybody who wants to see what courage is should come to your family and to the people around you in your community.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Well, let me ask you one other point blank question. We were going to talk today about the trouble in Nablus and Jenin and the West Bank and what has been called the Unity Intifada, where again, young people of Palestinian heritage are coming together across their political differences. They are trying, in a sense, to displace the Palestinian Authority. But all that on hold for just a moment, I have a very blunt, blank question that this new generation of Palestinians that are going to be fighting one way or another for their future, I don't know what else Israel and the world expect because the Palestinians we're talking about, they have no future. They have no future and they know it. That is why they're trying so hard now to help themselves, almost without any help at all that ever really gets to them. The funding is stolen by the PA and by Hamas and corruption. I just don't know what else the world expects when you abandon a people and not expect them to fight for themselves, that they are violent, they are terrorists because they are trying to get out from under the boot of Israeli apartheid and oppression. What else does the world
Uh,
expect?
yeah, I want the world just to make a little comparison. Now, in the contemporary time, if you look to everywhere on this planet, you will find that there is a food crisis, a crisis in the sugar, in the flour, in the wheat, in the cooking oil, etc. Now all the world are suffering from this crisis. I want the world to imagine how is the situation of the people of Gaza who are surviving only on 200 lorries or vans coming each day to Gaza. And in the previous 3 days, all the borders were closed. So we hadn't the ability or the opportunity even to have our daily 200 trucks because of the Israeli election. 3 days, our
Yes.
borders were closed due to the Israeli election. So, can you imagine how we can secure food to our family? We are fighting. We are fighting just to find one single meal for our children, for our elders, for our family. You have to fight a very, very tough fight. Yeah. So I want people around the world who are suffering from the results of the Russian-Ukrainian war. I want them just to imagine how the people of Gaza are surviving during all the previous years. I want them just to try to imagine how our situation. We are suffering more and more and more and more. So you cannot imagine how is our life.
And we have mentioned the mathematics of this before. And I'm going to bring up a subject that often makes people angry, but I don't care because of this suffering that's going on for no justifiable reason. In the Nazi death camps of World War II that were to get dedicated to destroying the Jewish people, they were on a specific diet, a small piece of bread each day. And they worked and they worked and they worked all day, all night, and they were expected, they were planned on to die of starvation, weakness, and disease within 7 to 9 months of their coming to the camp. This was a mathematical plan worked out by the Germans. Now we look at Gaza, and we see that they can perhaps allow 200 to 250 trucks of food and supplies in there per day. If you do the math with 2.5 million people living in the Gaza territory, this means that 12,000 people at least must eat from one truck each day. So if you have well said, Mohammed, that the minute you finish a lucky meal one day, you start thinking about where am I going to find food for my family tomorrow. This is not intentional. This is not meant to be this way. I disagree. And I want people to hear one quick thing that this is from an Israeli demographer, Arnon Sofer from Haifa University. He's the architect of the current isolation in Gaza. In 2004, he advised the government of Ariel Sharon to withdraw Israeli forces from within Gaza, seal the territory off from the outside world, and simply shoot anyone who tries to break out. Quote, when 2.5 million people live in a closed off Gaza, it's going to be a human catastrophe, Sofer told an interviewer in the Jerusalem Post of 11th November 2004. Those people, quote, will become even bigger animals than they are today with the aid of an insane fundamentalist Islam. The pressure at the border will be awful. It's going to be a terrible war. So if we want to remain alive, the Israelis, we will have to kill and kill and kill all day, every day. And his only worry was, quote, the only thing that concerns me is how to ensure that the boys and men of the IDF who are going to have to do the killing will be able to return home to their families and be normal human beings. These are the words of the Israelis and the guiding of their policy. I suggest to you that they would never be normal human beings again after what they are doing to you in Gaza, the West Bank, and Jerusalem. Never.
Yes, yes, brother, exactly, exactly. Also, in the previous weeks and months, some good voices inside Israel started to speak loud. They started to speak and to criticize the policies of the Israeli apartheid system They started to speak, you have to give Gaza its freedom, you have to open borders, you have to insert more food supplies, more number of trucks to people of Gaza, and the hospitals in Gaza, they have very dangerous shortage in medicine and medical equipment, in gas or in oxygen cylinders, etc. And right now here in Gaza we have a complicated problem, which is COVID, because the
Yes,
majority of Gaza population is not vaccinated right now. The majority of Gaza people are still not vaccinated right now. So every day we have too much number of new discovered cases of COVID.
yes, and the Israeli
I think that
population, the Israeli population is 100% vaccinated. So it's not as if they
exactly.
cannot, it's not as if they cannot help you if they wanted to.
Yeah, Gaza is something different. Here in Gaza, the number of people who got vaccines are, in general, doesn't exceed 30% from the population. Doesn't exceed 30%.
Yeah. And while Nablus was surrounded for more than 3 days, they blocked every entrance and exit to the city for their attacks to come in there and arrest and or kill as many of the Lion's Den activists or militant movement as they could. They also blocked off, while many people were being shot, besides, they also blocked off ambulances and medical personnel from coming in to try to treat the wounded. So they know exactly how sadistic they are being.
Yes, yes, brother, exactly, exactly.
Now, we
The
mentioned,
situation is not good at all, and that Benjamin Netanyahu has achieved victory in the Israeli election.
yes,
For Palestinians, this is not a good thing, and they are predicting bad future, especially in the few coming years. They are coming more support for settlers in West Bank,
yes.
more support for Israeli soldiers, and more assaults and attacks against Jenin, Nablus, and maybe even Gaza. So everyone here in Gaza is pessimistic and not happy for the results, the recent results of the Israeli election.
And late last month, President Isaac Herzog, the president of Israel, visited President Biden in Washington. And the release of information about their meetings and discussions included the idea that they were discussing very seriously a two-state solution, something that no one is talking about anymore. This is not even on the map of reality. So we know they are just, as we say colorfully in English, bullshitting us, that they are not talking at all about doing anything for the Palestinians. Then they claim together that the UN Commission of Inquiry that has found that Israel is an apartheid state, and that is the sixth major world organization within a year and a half that has made the same fair finding about the Israeli system. They say that Israel is being unfairly targeted for this critical analysis, that we don't do this to anybody else around the world. Well, I don't think there's anybody else around the world that is running such an apartheid system right now, is there? South Africa is gone. There is no outright apartheid like Israel's. It's as obvious as can be. So, with Netanyahu reelected, that brings along the Kahanist movement, the guy named Kahani who believes that Palestinians should all be killed and thrown into the ocean. This is a terrible, dark, tragic, and needless prospect looking down the throats of the Palestinian people. Final detail, they, as you were just saying, Muhammad, they arrested, the Israelis, over 5,000 citizens of Israel, Arab citizens of Israel. They arrested over 5,000 of them on no charges, just while the violence was going on in Nablus, no charges, except they wanted to find out more about their attitudes. Are they going to criticize the Israeli government for things that they're doing or not? And if you are, I suggest you would be in a lot of trouble. So the future looks so dark right now. I cannot imagine that anybody else on the planet would not be trying to do what the Unity Intifada is trying to do. Let me ask you then, do you think that the Unity Intifada will succeed in displacing the Palestinian Authority? They seem themselves to be awfully worried about being reduced to an irrelevant authority and thereby losing their power and all their advantages to steal international aid from the Palestinians and so forth. Muhammad, then what do you think will be the future of the PA and of Hamas for that matter in maybe the coming year?
Uh, I think, brother, that Unity Intifada will not achieve anything for the Palestinian cause. For me, as Muhammad, personally, for me, I don't believe in the military struggle because Israel always has the upper hand, and we are very, very, very weak according to our military power, our primitive weapons, our separated fighters, a group here, a group there. They are separated between the cities and the refugee camps. For me, I don't change my beliefs. I am against any military act. I think maybe they will make some movement between the Palestinians. Maybe this will make good echoes. Maybe this will remind some Arabs that Palestinians still have problems, still have struggle. Maybe this new military formation, maybe it can achieve some popular gathering around the Palestinian cause. Maybe this could be the only benefit. But to achieve something against Israel, I don't think so. Also to achieve something against the PA, like to topple or weaken the PA, also I don't think so.
Is that
But I
because
think
is that because the Palestinian Authority uses money to
exactly,
to
exactly,
co-opt people into cooperating with their injustice? The PA more and more with every
exactly,
year, the PA more and more with every
exactly,
year acts more and more like a wing of the Israeli Defense Forces and not as an
exactly.
agent for Palestinian rights. So they use money where they cannot sell their ideas or their purpose to their own people.
Exactly, brother, exactly. That's true. In fact, PA is a very, very rich, and PA always practice its corruption through the European money, unfortunately. As you know, billions of euros are flowing annually to the Palestinian Ministry of Finance uh, of the PA. And I think I told you previously about the corruption of the
Yes.
PA and its politicians. So with money, I think PA will be the dominant in West Bank. If Israel wants to shake the throne of Abbas, I think Israel can do that easily. And you know, Israel has so many ways to do that. But if Israel is okay and feels comfortable with Abbas, I think Abbas will be sitting in his court or in his palace forever. I think I think the change will be by making some embargo on financing the Palestinian PA, and always I blame the European Union because billions of euros are flowing from the European countries to PA, and unfortunately there is no monitoring on those money. No one is making any kind of monitoring how
And none
the
of that aid,
Palestinian.
none of that aid really comes down to the Palestinians, quote, ordinary people. It always stays spread out among the corrupt oligarchs who, even on top of that, are charging new taxes to process your olive oil or charging fees for services they do not provide. It's incredible. I think, Mohammed, it's very important for our viewers to understand this because in almost all our programs, we ask people, please take 5 minutes, write to your representatives an email, a phone call, 5 minutes, and tell them that you demand that the American, British, and other outside support for Israeli apartheid must be changed. But think of it, even then, when people send money in their taxes, they think they are sending it partly for Palestinian aid, but none of it is reaching them because of the corruption. Perhaps, as you often said, we need at least a 3 to 6 month embargo or boycott of outside support for the Palestinians governments in Hamas and the PA, which are doing the people no good, worse than no good.
Exactly, brother. Exactly, exactly. As I told you, the solution I think will be by making embargo and stopping the financial support to PA and Hamas. I think by that way we can do something useful for the Palestinian cause, and we can make favor for those poor Palestinians who are suffering every day from the corruption of PA and Hamas. As you
Yes,
just
and
mentioned, no one receive any kind of help. No one can receive anything.
this is very important, Mohammed, that you've said what you're saying for people to understand. Because if let's say there was enough of a movement to say, okay, the United States, for example, must end its support if it's sending any money at all to the Palestinians, right? And the politicians and the people of the status quo will immediately say, oh, that's going to hurt ordinary Palestinian people. But that cannot be true since they are not getting any help from the PA or from Hamas. They're not going to miss anything if we cut off aid to the PA because the PA doesn't give any help to the Palestinian people. I so hope
At
that
all.
people will understand that.
Yes, brother. They doesn't give any cent to the poor people. They doesn't help with any kind of help. I am uh, I am sure of my information because I am living here in a very poor area amongst the poor people, and I am seeing what happened. PA doesn't help at all, and Hamas also is very corrupted. They are making too much taxes, an increasing number of taxes against the poor people of Gaza. So people here cannot survive due to the corruption of the Palestinian leaderships.
Yes, so I'm hoping that people who contact their governments around the world would include this very true, accurate, on the ground information that you will not hurt average Palestinian people by stopping the funding for Hamas and or the PA because they do not help their own people as it is. As our time winds down, Muhammad, I want to make just one other appeal to people's understanding and therefore their motivation to try to demand to help Palestinian people with a question that often comes up too. That's why does there seem to be almost no mainstream talk at all in media or politics of the Palestinian situation? They are not Ukraine. Some people say they are not white people, which is ridiculous. They are not Taiwan, which is worth billions of dollars to American business interests. And we will be told that that's going to be the next necessary war. But I want to appeal to people on this basis. If you will not help the Palestinians, then look at the people that you remain in bed with, the state of Israel. They will not submit their nuclear weapons program to any kind of international checking and oversight. They talk all the time about attacking an Iranian neighbor that has never harmed them. They are at war constantly with their neighbors. They make allies with tyrants, the most beautiful Saudi and other regimes in the Middle East, in order to outflank Palestinian resistance. There are millions of Palestinian refugees living even outside their own country in tent camps, and they run a systematic racist apartheid system of constant aggression and killing that has been observed and definitively identified by more than 6 major global organizations. If you will not help the Palestinians, then these must be your friends. Think about it. All you have to do is lift a finger to help these people out from under this black boot of oppression. So if you will not do that, then you are in bed with those criminals. And that's the way it is. What do you want? Which do you choose? Muhammad, I sorry to go on there, but I'm
No, no,
trying.
no,
We are
brother.
we are both trying very hard to get through to the world and ask them to take action. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about or ask or talk about today in our little meeting that we
Yes,
hope will
yes, brother.
stimulate the conversation?
Yeah, yeah. If one day I have the opportunity to meet a representative of a European country or a member in the European Parliament, I will ask him. I will ask him uh, just one question on what standards or what standard you are funding the PA without making any kind of monitoring. Uh, just I have only one single question. Just this question. I don't know why the European Union became a patron for this kind of corruption. Why you became a patron for this kind of corruption? Is this allowed according to the European laws? Is this allowed according to the European traditions and ethics? Only I have one question, which is this, and I hope one day to have an opportunity to raise this question to such a European representative or member in the parliament.
Well, that is certainly the question that goes right to the heart of their position. Because you know what? I imagine that they would run away from you before you even got a chance to ask it because they know the truth of the question that you're asking. By what standards, by what international laws or traditions or agreements are you ignoring these people while all the time, blah, 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 7 days a week, they are screaming about the Ukrainian people's right to determine their own future? So they know about these international laws and traditions and statements, agreements around the world that this kind of thing is
This
wrong,
is
that a people must be able to self determine their own future, but somehow it doesn't apply to the Palestinians. This we must correct for you and your family, Muhammad, for your community and your entire people. We must correct this.
brother, that this is the double standard policy. They are discriminating
Absolutely.
between,
Yes.
between the Slavic race those people who are blonde, who have green eyes or blue eyes, and the Palestinian who looks like the Mediterranean people in his look,
Yeah,
in in his eyes, in his hair color. Always we have this kind of discrimination, and we still have this kind of discrimination. They are discriminating between us and Ukraine and Taiwan and other nations. We say always that there is no justice on this earth, and all what we want is justice. Only we need justice. We don't want to throw Jews into the Mediterranean. We don't want uh, to uh, to kill them or get rid of them. We want them to live with us side by side in this land, just to revive our memories, our history, because previously, before the catastrophe of 1948, we used to live side by side
that is
as
true.
neighbors, as friends, the Muslim, the Christian, the
That is true.
Jew, yeah, the
That
Jew,
is true.
all of us.
And
Yes,
I,
brother. Yeah.
yeah, and you can see that that is true for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Go to YouTube and watch a short documentary called The Land Speaks Arabic. The land speaks Arabic. You will see elders of the families from all sides remembering the real historical, centuries old time when all these different groups that are now set against each other were living together. And they did not care what your religion was or what your beliefs were. They shared in each other's lives and they proved for generations that these people can live together. Muhammad, you are rapidly becoming darker and darker as your batteries fade. I want to wish, along with the whole world, my friend, that you have a safe and peaceful night tonight so that you can sleep and rest and, in every sense, recharge your batteries for tomorrow.
Thank you, brother, and thank you so much for people who are following our program and watching us.
You are seeing, ladies and gentlemen, the conditions, the dark conditions right now under which Muhammad and his family are living. We have to cut it right here, but we look forward to your being with us next time. Thank you, everyone, for watching.